And then clearly you will raise issues around the fact that in fact Swaziland is a military state coupled with a dictatorship. You understand? So the issue, that's a big issue. Then there are other issues which are just as important, because you've got to raise the issue of poverty. If you don't raise the issue of poverty, you can change who's in charge, but I want to warn you, the poor will remain poor and your problems will remain in place. That's what our problem is in South Africa. You with me? And it needs to be addressed. And if you don't think it needs to be addressed, what happened at the beginning of July is they said it was well orchestrated and the rest of it. But I do want to tell you that it was like the beginning of a veld fire. And it went like it went because it caught the imagination of many people who are very frustrated. 20 million people in South Africa go to bed hungry every night. You can't ignore that. You really can't. And that is a political issue. You with me? So, poverty. Food, is it an issue? Is health an issue? Is service delivery an issue? What are the things that people feel, let's say, are the top 5 things that we've got to address in Swaziland? And when you've got a feeling that comes from the ground up, then you start dealing with the strategies on how you deal with those one by one by one.
In Swaziland, they've got a challenge of political education.
Yes.
Political education. You know, I don't know what can I call it. Let's say even now, if you can call people to come together and ask them what do they want. We are facing a challenge because the understanding of politics is not there. So for now, people, if you ask them what do they want, they talk about what is here on the table. We are unable to come up with something. So even for me alone, I don't say others, they should come on that line. This is not the right time for any discussion. The ground, the masses. For now, if you want me to talk, I will talk. What I will talk is because what is here. I will talk the anger, the pain, the hunger. The understanding is not there. Political education.
So you would say number 1, political education.
Yeah, to me that is why my concern in Swaziland is about the removal of 1973.
Yes.
Yeah, if it was me pushing things, even now in Swaziland, the unrest should continue the unrest until the removal of 1973, where we will be able to talk and discuss things freely. Before talking about who is in power, who is not in power. Because what we're trying to do now is we're talking about elections, changing and electing people. It's not about that. I'm also a human being. You can put me there in power. If I'm not politically, if I'm not clear politically, I will also, challenges will go, poor will go more poor.
But now I'm going to confront you.
Yes.
All right. What is your syllabus?
My syllabus on
political education.
Okay, for me, ever say
you with me? You with me? You see why I'm asking you that? Is because yes, I grew up in a family where they didn't want to talk about politics. You understand? Politics is a dirty word. You understand? And part of the reason for that was because my mother had German ancestry. You understand? And look what politics did to Germany. You understand? And you must know my mother lived through both world wars. Okay? So it's going to be critical that those of you who have a political understanding must sit and put together what the syllabus is. How do you begin to start shifting that block? You know, today is the first time I hear about 73 as clearly. And you said two sentences. You said the 73 decree, and then you said what happened there was that citizens became subjects. You remember that? And that, so that's the paradigm that you're dealing with. And so the king's not going to understand, who are you to dialogue with me? You know, you belong in the kitchen cooking the food, and you belong in the garden making vegetables. You don't have the right to sit like this and talk about my business. I'm not going to be there. Sorry. So I want to plead, there are 6 of you who are present here. Don't accept what anybody says, just as law. You understand? So you might disagree with Bongani completely. You might think it's too late to go back to changing citizens to citizens again. You with me? It's unrealistic. We're right in the fire now, and we've got to put something together. You really are on the brink of a revolution. You know? You also, can I be rude, hey? And I don't think you know the beginning of what the king is up to. You know, so you talk dialogue. So I raised this issue right into the General Secretary of the ANC's office. That's why what Lindy said to you, you must get your terms of reference sorted out, you know, because she really knows what she's talking. And I was told, well, it's difficult to imagine that Cyril Ramaphosa is going to confront the king, because Cyril Ramaphosa plays golf with him every year.
So they play golf together.
I hope this is not going over.
I hope so.
But you understand. And so, yes, let's dialogue. Let the rich sit together around the rich table and dialogue. We'll dialogue until tomorrow. You understand? And the Swazi people are not stupid. You with me? So the model of how you want to put this thing together is critical work that you've got to do. You know?
You mentioned the issue of poverty. I've always been discussing this with my colleague. All these formations, the political, they're missing a point on that part. Most people, in fact, if you want to drive the issue of political agenda, address the issue, the immediate issue of the person. If you are promising me that one day you want to be the government, stop pointing the current government loopholes and start changing. Start doing the change you are promising me tomorrow, today.
But with this one, Matsamutabo is talking about, my mind is, I'm now understanding the issue of Swaziland now. I now understand that there will be no dialogue unless this 1973 decree is over. Even I too, I was pushing for dialogue. How can I be in dialogue when my mouth is zipped up?
You're not recognized as political formation.
If we in Matsamutamu, we've spoken a lot, man. Yes, if we as Swazis, we can fight for this 1970 decree to be removed before this dialogue, before everything is happening.
Because-
I think it can be.
May I ask, because we are in a meeting, a formal meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Bishop can also help us.
Yes.
Yeah, the man you spoke about, he does have that document, that decree. If he can every so as make sure that someone come up with the decree and everyone get a chance to read it. Because at the beginning of the struggle, before a struggle was a fashion, there was that document. And if you can have that document, was not hearing it from me, have that document. That is when I say it every day. All what you are talking about is nothing. There's no need to talk about banana, apple. There's no need to talk about the raising of salaries, the challenges, the rural area challenges, kings taking land for people, chiefs and whatever. Everything it is there. It's just simple. It's taking all the powers of the country to the king. That is why whatsoever, even anyone in parliament is sweating or what raising his hand, yeah, where you tell you for the king and the people of South. It's all about that. And that document, it clarifies clearly all the powers. That is why he is above the law. Because if you can remember very well, in 68, there was freedom in Swaziland. But from 68 to 73, the king realized that he doesn't have any powers. So he played the strategy. That is why they came up with that document.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mama. Do you have the document?
For now, it's far away, but I can come up with the document.
I
anytime.
suggest that because Bishop Paul wants to know about this 1973 decree. I suggest that if you can take Bishop Paul's email address, or you take my email address, you send us the document so that we can read it. So if for the future, if you go to another meeting, let's say there is another meeting that we meet politically now, we don't meet like this council, but we meet to address political things. We look at the document, we understand the document.
Okay, no, we can make means on that, but that is why I was suggesting Mr. Jacob, because it does have even other important documents.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can work out about the document. Now we have to have that document so that when we talk politics, we must talk in a certain level. Yeah, we are in another meeting. So the level of the politics, I realize, because now we are talking with, I'm sorry to say that we're talking politics with socialites. Yeah. And when you talk politics with socialites, like a player talking to the fans, not talking to the coach. Yeah, because when you are there, you look at things. Coach may know better the playground than someone on the grandstand, but we'll work out the document. It is there, 1973 decree. In fact, if you can Google
Bishop Buthelezi has found it on Google, eh?
Yes, I've googled it.
And
It was made by
it's there.
Sopoza.
Thank you.
12 April 1973. I'm trying to download the document.
Oh, that's cool.
But let me say something. When you've got the document, if it is what you suspect, transforming citizens into subjects, right?
Yes.
Then you've got to start asking yourself, what rights do I want as a citizen? What does it mean to be a citizen? And that's, of course, your political education.
And I think the sentence is on the first page and the second line that to my subject. Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, the subject.
It says to my subject. Yeah, it's a proclamation to all my subjects.
Yeah.
Of Swaziland.
Before you start reading the document, it's there.
How many pages does it have?
I'm trying to download it.
Could be less than 3.
Less than 3.
I don't remember very well, but less than
Yeah, I think it's a small document.
Okay, I would love to have it before we leave. Okay, Bishop, I would love to ask you some few questions. You are free also to comment on the questions I'm gonna be asking him. There's something you said, you said it's impossible to dialogue with the king, more especially at his place. I want you to talk more about that. as you are saying, it seems not possible. Do you who has got the powers to sit? Let's say, yeah, he allows people to sit with. Who has got the powers? Because the political parties are banned in Swaziland. They are not allowed. They are not existing. Yes, we do have the PPA, but they are not existing. They are there, just the name. But when it comes to paperwork, they are not existing. Who has got the right to sit with the king? Who should be sitting with the king, exchanging word with him?
I'm going to answer the question as if I was the king. Because that's what I think is relevant.
Yeah.
And the only person that I would, and you must remember that all the states around me must respect the sovereignty of Swaziland.
Okay.
So, Mr. Ramaphosa doesn't have the right to speak to me about my country unless I get to the place where I give him access.
Okay.
So the only person would be whoever the king believes is his peer.
Okay. Okay.
So if, for instance, Prince Buthelezi, Mangosuthu, if he regards him as someone to whom he will, with whom he will engage, then the door will go open. But it has to be someone, I think, that he gives that authority to.
Okay. Okay, now I do understand. You are saying the king should give a list of the people who should attend.
Well, I don't think he'll give a list. You've got to hear.
Yeah.
I'm the king,
Yeah.
and I say to you, who are you?
Your profile.
Okay.
Never mind your profile. Who are you?
Okay.
What are you?
To sit with me.
Yes. As my equal. Who are you to question what I think?
Now the challenge we have as Swazis is the venue for the dialogue. His place called Sbaya, which is the crown. We having a challenge there.
It's not this hotel in near King Sharky.
Let me interrupt you, Makeba. I think before we go to the venue, let's go back to what the bishop is saying. The bishop is saying the one who is gonna allow this dialogue, people who will attend the dialogue, is the king himself. He is the one who must choose to people who must attend dialogue. And it's obvious that he's going to choose people who will favor him, people who will be on his side. Thus, there is no pure dialogue. It will be a fake dialogue. We are going back then to what Matsabutsabu is saying. Matsabutsabu said, before there is a dialogue, we must deal with 1973 decree.
Okay.
Whereby the political parties were banned, everybody was zipped up. Then if we deal with that one, the 1973, then we take it out. It means then those that were zipped up their mouth will be open. It won't be the king now will be choosing, because there will be formations of political parties. There will be people who will be chosen by the people to represent them to the dialogue. Thank you.
And it also deals with the balance of power. Because now we are talking of the dialogue was by, but the power is on one side. The money is with who? The army. Who controls the army? Who controls everything now? So when we talk now,
Who controls the courts?
yeah. So as we talk now, someone is controlling the power. I mean, the balance is not the same. So when we remove 73, everything will be balanced. The power, no one If you speak, no one will intimidate you with the jail. If you speak, no one will intimidate you with, we are working on my farm, you will not get paid. The power will be balanced. So that is where the challenge is.
So you mean
Even
before
now-
we go to the dialogue,
even now-
that must be balanced?
Yeah, even now, some others are talking of a government of national unity. If I'm saying it well. Yeah. So, to be honest, someone was saying we can have a meeting and select people to be the government, what, and then within maybe a week, we ask relatives or these ambassadors we report, we ask for help, what, but within 12 hours, because we don't trust one another. One, it might tell someone the story not because he's a spy, but he's happy that you've got government. Within 12 hours of that selection of that committee, borders will be closed. No one is running away. Soldiers can be there on the line. No one is running away. Within 12 hours, you can be arrested, given an order. There's this 30 days within detention without trial. It can happen as it's happening now to Bomtandeni. So if there was a balance of power, Bomtandeni should be out, because every Swazi citizen is saying no. Even the court, it doesn't know why are there. So there are those challenges. So that is why the pay is the 73.
The imbalance
The
of
imbalance
power
of
is
power.
because of 1973.
Thank you, sir.
So we have
But
to deal
you
with
know-
that.
You know, I've been in situations, and let me now show you so that you can see how it works. I've been in situations in the church where I now sit at the head of the church, and people will come in and do this.
What's the issue?
Because their head may not be above the bishop. You
That's true.
It's a problem when you're a short bishop. You understand? You with me? That's what you've got. You know, and so you must know you're dealing with a psychological mindset. How many people at that conference they said the Swazi people are peace-loving people. They love their king. They don't want to make war with the king.
We no longer love the king.
Well, you'd be surprised. You must understand that a mindset like that doesn't disappear. And I accept partially what you say, okay, about 73. I think it's a very important insight. But what work has got to be done up here in the Swaziland people that will say, you can sit with the king like you're sitting with me and see him as your equal. That's going to take a lot of work in your head, because even you still regard the king as the king is the king, and you like the idea of a king. And what you're wanting to do is to demolish the king. You understand? That's the one thing. The second thing is, we need to take very seriously what you're saying about political education. What kind of model do you want? What do you want in Swaziland? Do you want a Marxist state, as it's called? You with me? Do you want socialism? Are you not gonna miss this boss? You know, I mean, look at South Africa. We call ourselves a democracy, okay? But we've kept in place all the Indunas and the Nkosis and everybody. So you mustn't imagine that in an Induna crawl, there's a democracy. There really isn't.
No.
You know, dream on. I went to a meeting in the Northwest. And I was taken by one of our umfundisis to meet with the king. And I had a jersey on, which covered my shoulders, okay? But there was a man there who was dressed like you, like all of you, okay? Only one. All the others had jackets on and everything.
Coats.
And the man was, in fact, the political counselor for the area. Name happened to be Nelson. And he said, stand up. So he stood up. He said, who do you think you are coming into my presence not properly dressed?
Mm.
Do you think I am a boy? Get out. In front of everybody.
Mm.
The political head of the area was chased out like a dog. Now you've got to get rid of all this stuff. You understand?
And it was taken as normal.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody said, excuse me, on a point of objection. Can you imagine if this is Mlungu or this is Lechoa had said, look at how I'm dressed. You understand? So you have to understand that stuff about political education is complicated but critical, because you've got to wake up people who are sleeping, and they want to sleep. You must, if they did not want to sleep, Swaziland would have changed a long time ago. You with me? So your education is an uncomfortable education, because many of us, the method. Let me take you into the church, okay? So the Methodist Church is a fairly democratic church, right? And in my time, they introduced bishops. And if I had to tell you one of the reasons they introduced bishops, we always used to have chairmen, okay? Was because when you go into a press conference, the press doesn't know what a chairman is, but they know what a bishop is.
Yeah. Exactly.
So our chairmen were ignored, and the bishops were the ones who
Decide.
No, who spoke. They didn't want to hear from the chairman. What's a chairman? You understand? Now the Methodist Church has got bishops. Okay? And we're becoming more and more like this. The power's at the top.
Yeah.
And you with me? You've got to watch that in Zoe.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. In the Congregational and Presbyterian Church, they are very suspicious of power. So the decisions can only be made in circles.
Yeah.
If I am the moderator, I mustn't think I can make laws that can change the church. You, as one of the ministers, can come and say, who do you think you are? What do you think you are? So you have to begin to start looking at different models of leadership. I think that because of what has happened in Swaziland and the violation of the trust of the people, the king has got to think very carefully about his mandate to be king. Now that might sound very radical, but if you're going to be a king, your responsibility is to protect the life of your people, your subjects. If they begin to be killed under your watch, you've got a problem. You've got a problem.
Then you have to account.
Well, you've got to account. And if you don't account here, you must know you're going to account up there.
And I'm asking myself, how are the people of Swaziland gonna be sitting with the king who came to the public and say, I'm not the one who killed the people. The people were killed by soldiers from outside. It means even when we sit with you here, the people can still come and shoot us and you don't know what they are. So I don't see this dialogue taking place.
Well, let me tell you that in a normal kingdom, if people come from outside and kill my subjects, you understand?
Yeah.
That means that the country from which those soldiers came, and my intelligence must be able to tell me who they are,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay? That country's declared war on me.
Yes, declare war.
Yeah.
And to add on that, if we can look at this with other eyes, Mswati is saying South Africa is in war with Swaziland because it's claiming that those people, they come from other countries, and they are saying maybe South Africa. Do you see? It's telling people that South Africa is in war with Swaziland because soldiers were coming from South Africa to come and shoot his subject.
And kill 80. Kill more than 80. More than 80 were
And
killed.
if he's saying that the neighboring countries are quiet, why are they quiet?